Now in this video, there's no intro. I'm simply relaying the truth in the most logical, sensible, practical, understandable, and simple way possible, in the most sensible language available. And so I want to start off by saying that there's one idea that is the basis, the foundation of all other ideas to come in this video. And so that begs the question, if there is one concept, one idea, one thought that will ensure your ultimate attainment of the real goal in life, enlightenment, what is that thought? And furthermore, how can I apply it? Because it has to be practical. And in order for it to be practical, it has to be sensible. It has to make sense. And thus, ideally, it should be simple. And should is a hypothetical. Ideally, it is simple. And thus, I say this. What is that thought? Perhaps the thought is a question. Perhaps the thought is, what is the source of attention? What is the answer to that question? Well, what if the answer to ensure the attainment of the ultimate goal in life the answer is to simply turn attention back to its source. And in order for us to consciously turn our attention, our energy back to its source, first, ideally, there can be the basis of an intellectual understanding of how we can go about doing this and applying this in everyday practical life. Because meditation is really a quality, not necessarily an action. It's a quality that pervades all activity. However one seems to be to another, inwardly, their state of being may not reflect exactly how the other perceives them to be. But the truth is, the same source of attention, source of energy, source of life that is within them, observing this one, is the same source within all of us. And thus, the idea is God is one, as previously mentioned in the last video. That is the idea of all other ideas, that God is one. And so what is the source of attention? Source of energy. Where attention goes, energy flows. A lot of us have heard that, but oftentimes cliches, simple sayings that seem very common go in one ear and out the other because we've heard it so many times. But we haven't sat through and really thought profoundly and deeply about what that cliche means, what it implies. We haven't sat and chewed on it. Where attention goes, energy flows. What does that mean? Well, in relation to the idea that God is one, it's self-revealing. You don't need me to tell you. And practically, when we have so much freed up energy as a result of, for instance, on this channel, committing to the semen retention journey, we have more energy to turn attention back to its source. And it happens effortlessly. Of course, initially we apply this knowledge, this idea consciously, and really we can base our whole life, our whole spiritual practice on one simple concept. And I'm hoping that, well, I'm sharing this in the hope to raise another's vibration and to share that which has been beneficial for this one and enlightening for this one. And really, all you need is one concept, one idea from all the words spoken in this video. And if you take away one concept, it really resonates with you, and you sit with that and chew on it and apply it. I have complete confidence. In fact, I know that it will be of tremendous benefit. And as God is one, as there is background distractions, really they're not distractions, because in the context of the source of all of this, when you see and experience everything in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, and thus you think in these terms naturally, you begin to realize that all is here. Really, there's nothing to seek, nothing to find, because it's already within. Wherever you go, whatever you're doing, the truth is, we can say the Lord, the source of attention, can never leave you. And so again, that begs the question, what is this source? How can we find it? Well, we can look within. That is the fundamental teaching. To focus inwardly, to turn attention back to its source, and ultimately, wherever your focus it's simultaneous, pervading all of appearance, all of existence. And we want to get rid of the notion, let go of the notion of an individual sovereign existence, that I, as I exist, am an independent entity, as if I was the source of the energy that is allowing this one to function. And there's background beeping. And again, it doesn't have to be a distraction, because we want to understand also that our ability to act, to physically do in the world through the body, honestly, that's limited. Our ability to act is limited. But our ability to respond our ability to respond to life is limitless. And thus, everything can be a conscious choice. And so, we're going to go downstairs and turn off whatever's beeping. Why not? We can incorporate many props and physical objects and vibrations and sounds, which are all part of the truth. And of course, the ultimate is transcendent to this phenomenal vibrational creation. Universe, meaning one sound. You can be aware of everything around. Even though I'm not looking at it directly, I'm aware that it's now 11:11. I'm not really even, it may seem that I'm focused on the phone, looking at you directly, but really, I'm aware of everything going on. We can even say several streets over. Somebody's raking a couple streets over. And I can feel that. I hear that. And from a certain standpoint, that could be, hey, that is your attentive faculty, source of energy, focused outwardly. But really, it's not. Because you're simply quiet. Absorbing all that surrounds you, letting it flow through you effortlessly, with absolute non-resistance. And thus there's absolute contentment in every circumstance. And so, let's go. Turn off the beeping noise, right? And say hi to the dog too. Why not? You know, I really hardly ever have a plan about how these videos are gonna go. And, you know, I think that is what makes them more interesting. At least from my perspective. But we gotta understand that fundamentally, truth is not a perspective. Actually, truth is not an idea. Ideas can simply, and apparently, I didn't turn it off. As you can probably hear it going off. We'll try again. There we go. And so, what is the point? What is the intention of me relaying this information? What is the reason? I believe it really goes without saying. And I'm hoping that you feel that you see that. That you see the light, the candle in the background, which is symbolic, the candlestick. And all movement can be completely conscious. When you practice stillness, you practice the presence naturally. carries on with you throughout every activity. And thus, as mentioned previously, your response to life is always completely conscious. There's never an automatic, involuntary reaction. You don't react to the world that's around you because you don't feel separate from it. Reaction is really due to an illusory sense of separation, of not embodying the notion that, hey, God is one. Not simply understanding the concept or thinking we understand, but actually embodying and feeling the fact, the truth that there is no separation, that space doesn't separate objects, but actually profoundly connects everything. There's not an iota of this wonderful world, this beautiful creation that didn't first originate in imagination. You can say the mind of God. And so what is the source of attention? What is the source of imagination? What is the power that allows us to think, that allows thoughts to arise in consciousness when we're in a state of stillness, inspire us and guide us and tell us, hey, go this way. And thus, bounce by bounce, you follow that inner voice, that intuition, and the Lord will keep speaking to you via synchronicity, saying, hey, you're going the right way, keep going, keep obeying. And so you'll deeply feel, you'll know that you're on the path, that you're right where you need to be, that you're whole and complete. And you don't need anybody to tell you that. You don't need me to tell you that, because you already know that. And as we rise in energy and awareness and consciousness, naturally, every moment, every second, the Lord is speaking to us. And it may appear as a thought, or it may not. Why would somebody want to give up what seems to be the highest pleasure in the world? Why would somebody want to willingly forego and give up sexuality? Well, simply, it frees up energy. It frees up your attention. What are the most common functional desires of man? Have to do with survival, right? Money, food, and sex. Those are the three things that keep material existence going. But what is the source of those desires? It's only by the grace of God that we can even think of God. And so, what is the source? What is the energy, the power in back of those thoughts, these thoughts, any concepts which show up in the world of appearance as everything that we can perceive with the five senses first began with a thought. So the life breath. If we don't take charge of the most basic transactions, as we're aware from within a body, the most basic transactions, which are food, breathing, temperature of the body, temperature outside of the body. These are the most easy to see transactions that we want to be conscious of in order to tune into the deeper, more subtle aspects behind physical material existence. Subjective, spiritual realms, dimensions. And so again, it begs the question, what is the source of attention? And how can we effectively turn attention back onto its source? That is the thought concept that inspired this. I hope it makes sense. God bless.